Hey everybody, Dr. Noah, sitting at the Grand Street Chiropractic office. Many of you who've seen me lecture before or lecture with Dr. Mike have heard me give my story pretty animately standing up. But today, there's a lot of people here that haven't seen my story or heard my story. So I want to give it in video form, and I'll throw it up on YouTube and I'll put it in a weekly email. So this is my story. When I was about 11, 12 years old, my mother was watching me play a minor league baseball game. And it just so happened that her low back was really hurting. And it just so happened, as I said a moment ago, that she was sitting next to Mickey. Now, the incredible thing was, Mickey worked for a chiropractor. And because my mom was sitting on those aluminum benches, cold, probably leaning forward a little bit, late March, her back was really flared up. And thank God, Mickey told my mother to go see the chiropractor she just so had worked for and was working for. So number one, the best thing my mother did was actually take the action step to go visit that chiropractor. So my mother made an appointment, she saw the chiropractor took x-rays of her spine and told her the true story of chiropractic. That chiropractic is a natural healing and health system. That health comes from above down, inside out. That your spine protects your nervous system and your brain, which controls and coordinates everything. So this obviously resonated with my mother. So shortly after her low back pain went away and got better, she brought in her whole family, my father, me, my brother, and my sister. And I so clearly can remember that first day walking down that hallway, going in, getting my first adjustment, laying down on that table, turning my head to the right, my legs being lifted up, and getting my first adjustment, and hopping off that table and saying, wow, Mom, that's what I want to do for the rest of my life. I guess at that moment I thought it was cool and interesting and fun, and there was a busy office. What really struck me a few months later, and even maybe a few years later, was prior to getting that first adjustment, I suffered greatly from ear infections and strep throat, getting really familiar with that pink bubblegum tasting amoxicillin, taking it 3, 4, 5 different times a year. But after that first adjustment, I never had strep throat or an ear infection again. And that's the beauty of chiropractic, folks. It's not a treatment per se for anything, but when you get adjusted, when you find those misalignments or subluxations in your spine, and you correct them and allow the nervous system to flow more freely, all things get better, chemically, emotionally, and physically. So I can remember writing my first term paper on chiropractic and moving forward through high school, knowing that's what I wanted to do. I went to Montclair State, got my biology degree, and went right to chiropractic school with my then fiance, wife now, Kerry. And we moved to chiropractic school in Atlanta, Georgia. Did really, really, really great there. Loved it. My wife loved it. She got a teaching degree down there. And after 4 years of chiropractic school, we decided to move back to New Jersey and work for the same chiropractor that gave me that first adjustment 15 or so years prior. Threw me in a small satellite office in Bayonne, and I can remember the first week seeing 16 people. But after about 2 years, I was seeing 200 plus people a week. I became partners in the business, and I was at that time a professional high in my life. At that same moment of being at my professional high, my mother, the person who gave me my life's mission and purpose in life, was diagnosed with 4-stage colon cancer. 30 days to that day of diagnosis, my mother passed. It was my birthday. It was March. Her wake was on my birthday, March 22nd. And that was 8 years or 9 years ago today. But it's always hard when I get to this point. But the office kept picking up steam, because of what happened to my mother, my verve for health, chiropractic, and wellness even grew. And after 6 years being in the same location, our lease was up. A really good friend of mine, Dr. Mike Ockenfor, who many of you know, asked me to move into his building, and I did. A year after moving into his building, I bought my partners out, and I've been in this building at 734 Broadway for the past 6 years, being my 13th year in practice. I'm sitting at a desk right now, right here, in our first attempt, and a successful attempt at a satellite office called Grand Street Chiropractic, and we have some other things in the hopper. But that's my story, from getting adjusted as a kid and my mother having the courage to bring her child, to a chiropractor, and me getting adjusted and having astounding results and keeping my goal and mission to become a chiropractor, working for that same person, buying that person out, and then being in office with Mike and Charlie and our physical therapist, and really making a difference in Bayonne and Hudson County. The interesting thing that's really makes me happy is this morning I got my adjustment from that same chiropractor that gave me that first adjustment, and the same chiropractor that gave me my first job. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this. There's more nuances, but I don't want to bore you to death. But if you have any responses or thoughts, please respond back. Thank you. Have a great Monday, and see you all real soon.